as the controversy over who represents the All Progressives Congress as the senatorial candidate for Yobe North Senatorial District reaches. Bashir Machina, who was elected as the party's candidate, has vowed to seek redress in court over the alleged substitution of his name with that of the President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, who in the list sent to the Independent National Electoral Commission by the party. Well, Mr. Lawan, who contested the presidential primary of the party, didn't participate in the party senatorial primaries, and so it's unclear why the party included Mr. Lawan's name to the list. You'd recall that Bashir Machina, who emerged as the senatorial candidate, had refused to step down for the incumbent Senate president. And joining us now via Zoom to discuss this is an APC chieftain, Alwan Hassan. Good morning and welcome to TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Sam, Kelly, and I would be leading this conversation with you.
Yeah, so, well, Hassan, this is a very tricky situation for your party. I wonder, was there ever a gentleman agreement between Mr. Machina and the Senate President over that particular seat?
Yeah, so they said, but if there were any gentleman agreements, I don't think Machina could have been who he is today by refusing to step down. And of course, why would there be any agreement? I really don't know why it is even legal for anyone to do such, or for any party to do such. For Lawal, as the number 3 citizen of this country, who should be a national leader in its own right, he has chosen personal and selfish ambition over national interest. It is not just illegal, but arrogant for Lawal and the party to replace a candidate without his consent, even if there was an agreement. The issue here is the same Lawal who, as Senate President, presided over the National Assembly that passed the new Electoral Act, which clearly states the electoral process will now turn around and try to abuse the same process.
Well, how did the decision come about that that Lawan's name should replace that of Machina? What was the process? How did it happen when the man himself said, no, I wouldn't step down? Because I know that he said, some people are saying that he's gentleman and so on. The law does not understand gentleman.
Now, how can you have a gentleman agreement with an individual when there was a contest? If they said Machina had an agreement with Lawal and there was a consensus, why was there an election? There was a contest. There was one contender too in the same senatorial zone C in the name of Abubakar Jinjiri. He contested for the same senatorial. He was screened. He bought form. He was screened, and he was confirmed to go for elections. He contested in that election. So if there was a gentleman agreement with Bashir, how comes there was an election? It should have been a consensus. He said it's a consensus, and if it was a consensus, it could have been an affirmation, not an election. But there was an election that day. And Abubakar Jinjiri also contested against Bashir Machina. So it's actually
right, you sound like you're not right. Yeah, you sound like you're also not in support of this development that Mr. Lawan's name has been submitted along with others to the INEC list. How does this reflect? How? Allow me to ask, please. How does this reflect with other APC members, and where you think this could lead the party to if it flies?
What will fly? The replacement?
Indeed, yes.
The replacement will only fly if the 2 contenders of this same senatorial give it up to him. If any one of them goes to court, INEC will provide its facts, its proofs as an observer, and that person takes the day in the court. So there is nothing like Lawal taking the day. But of course, let me just ask, what is it that Lawal has forgotten to do in a National Assembly that he spent 25 years to work in? What is it that he has not done? What has he forgotten? What has he done to his senatorial that he thinks he has not finished in 25 years? I just want to ask this question. What his senatorial district is the most remote, most poorest, most retarded in all ramifications. What is it that he wants? He wants to kill all of them, or he wants all of them to die? Or is it that he feels it is staying in Abuja and governors winning elections for him, and he sleeps in Abuja and preside over a senatorial that knows nothing about his whereabouts? What are we talking about? This guy lived in Abuja. He has lived in this town for more than 20 years. He doesn't go to his constituency. He doesn't go to his senatorial. We know all these things. Why is he so desperate to go back?
Yes, Mr. Hassan.
Does he mean that does he think that he's going to be Senate President again? What is wrong with him?
Yes, Mr. Hassan, I mean, well, he's the Senate President. He has represented the Yobe North Senatorial seats for about 16 years. There are those who believe that he has so much to bring to the table for your party. But perhaps I should ask you this. There seems to be some sort of power play in your party at the moment. I wonder who you think are those behind it. And just to add to that question as well, perhaps you could also paint a picture for us about the relationship between the governor of your state, Mayor Balabuni, and the Senate President.
I'm not from Yobe. I'm not from Yobe.
Yes, but you could attempt to answer that question as regards the power play and, of course, the issue of the relationship between the governor of that state and the Senate President.
There is no power play here. What I'm saying and what they are saying, what they are painting to us is there was an agreement for Machina to stand in for Lawan in case he loses the primaries, the presidential primaries, which they know quite all right he's going to do. So they now had someone to stand in for him to come for presidential elections, primaries, and if he doesn't win, he goes back to take the ticket. That was the agreement, if there was any agreement like that. And now the person that is standing in for it refused to step down because he won the election.
I'm also just wondering, is your party, the APC, concerned about how this kind of actions and displays would be perceived by millions of Nigerians?
They are not concerned. If they were concerned, they couldn't have written that replacement with Lawan's name. They are not concerned. What they are concerned is their vested interest. Year in, year out, we seek for a chairman that will preside over this party and will build up the party a formidable force to stand for the young people of this country that have supported APC from its inception. But it looks as if we're not getting it right yet. How can a chairman sit in his office to just write a name and submit to INEC, one that has never contested or has not gone for any elections, simply because they are friends or there was an agreement? I really don't understand where this is coming from. The desperation is and the audacity from Lawan is what I still keep on thinking about. What is it that this man feels he is? You know, you want to eat your cake and have it because you have some backups from the party and maybe the government. You think you can eat your cake?
That's the Senate President, and of course we must align. But Sam, you want to
we have a similar situation
when he this way. We always call him out when he goes this way. Whosoever it is, the Senate President, the Vice President, the President, we're supposed to be calling them out if they derail.
We have this is a similar situation going on in Akwa Ibom State in your party between the former minister of Niger Delta and former governor of Akwa Ibom, Godswill Akpabio. And some people have raised the issue that some of those people who have picked the ticket, who have run for primaries, cannot step down according to the present electoral law 2022. And they are probably relying on the former electoral law, and that the man must have to voluntarily step down before it can be replaced. Even if it's a placeholder, he has to say, I am willing to step down before it can be replaced. What kind of dilemma is that going to create for your party? Because it's not only happening in Yobe North, it's happening in Akwa Ibom.
Yeah. These are greedy folks. You understand? These are greedy folks. I think this is a great opportunity for INEC to show and exert its independence and teach our politicians a lesson to always follow due process. I think this is an opportunity for INEC to do that as an independent body. You can't eat your cake and have it. You want to stand in for election, make sure there is a risk and consequences coming afterwards. There is no way anyone would want to eat his cake and have it, and you think it's right.
What redress do you think? Machina can resort to in this circumstance? Because before the name is taken to the Independent National Electoral Commission, it must have received the blessing of the state executive, and also must have received the blessing of the National Working Committee or NEC. So what are we've not really heard any word from any of these bodies. What do they have to say for themselves, and how do they want to get over this? Are they trying to use impunity? Are they trying to bypass the law?
I think they said there is an allegation making the rounds that the party wrote a letter to INEC saying the NWC has not ratified Machina's election. Then there is another letter allegedly written by the party to INEC to come and observe the same senatorial election on the 9th. That was after the presidential primaries, but we have not heard. And they are saying Lawan became a consensus candidate, while there is a Machina that bought a form, and there is also Abubakar Jinjiri that bought a form from the same senatorial. So what happened to these two people? You see, for INEC, it is anybody's name that the party submits to INEC that INEC will take. But INEC has a record of its observatory role in all the primaries. It has record, it has names of people that were announced. So it is INEC that will now help us out to stand in for people in court, to now say, yes, I was around and this is the proof. You are the one that was announced. If INEC does that, it has shown us its independence. And it will teach a lot of politicians a lesson to always follow due process and stand in for one, and not to try to cause chaos. Because
where do you see this all leading to? Of course, the APC, like other parties, always talks about the principle of internal democracy and somewhat discourages members from going to court to for the court's intervention or regarding their grievances. Is there even anything on ground now to bring about reconciliation, even if Mr. Machina may even go eventually to give it to Mr. Lawan? What are you seeing on ground in APC right now?
You see, the umpire has already compromised by changing people's name and taking a different name to INEC. So in that case, what internal mechanism do you want anybody to now reach out to? It is the same internal mechanism that has compromised in changing people's name without consent. So I think people should go to court, seek redress, and make sure you follow it up to the conclusion. That's all I advise. People should not just allow this to go, including the other person, the Abubakar Jinjiri, that also contested against Bashir. He has his complaints. Let them follow up in the court of law. The party does not show any willingness or any seriousness in seeing into their pleas, because they are the cause of the problem.
Mr. Hassan, staying with the game of silence as displayed by your party and the NWC and all of that, I wonder why the camp of the Senate president as well is very quiet, making Mr. Machina look like a child that seeks a lot of special attention.
Does the Senate president have any camp? Can that one win election in the Senate? Does he have any camp? It's just one or two people around that are just jumping up and down for the Senate president. Does he have any camp?
Because I was also going. Well,
I know
because
a lot of
also,
That's what you think.
well, that's what you think.
You should
But he's
have
been
his
there
own
for 16
followership.
years, and you must give it to
This is the
him.
fact.
My second question
I
would,
have friends around him. I have friends. I know people around him
yes.
that celebrated his loss in the presidential primary. How can people closest to you celebrate your loss in an election, including the staff in the National Assembly? What sort of a person is this? After
Well,
25 years in the National Assembly, even the chairman of the National Assembly, as a chairman of the National Assembly, your staff in office celebrated your loss. What kind of a human being?
so, Mr. Hassan, I mean, you can say what you want to say about the Senate president. It's your view, it's your opinion. But then again, you can't take it away from him. He's the Senate president. He's been in the Senate for a very, very long time. Are you also considering the fact that he brings something different to the table? If I mean, if Mr. Machina was probably picked as the candidates for the Yobe North Senatorial seat, would that be a match for the opposition in Yobe State?
Absolutely. As it stands today, Lawal cannot win election on his own in his senatorial. Machina and Abubakar Injury are more popular than Lawal. If you leave him alone to himself, he can't win election in that senatorial. His governors have been winning elections for him. He's not popular. People don't even like him because he's not popular. He doesn't go to them.
Is it because? Is it because
Yeah,
it belongs to?
Because governors win elections for him. The governors win at the former governor and the recent governor will always win the elections for him. He doesn't go to campaign. He doesn't know his people. They don't know him.
What do you mean by the? What do you mean by they don't know him? Is it because it belongs to? It's not Kanuri and it belongs to the small ethnic group called Bade?
Yobe is not generally Kanuri. They are not the majority. Though they are, but it's not the pure Kanuris that are Yobis. You understand? So it's not like he has his own tribe people. He has his own tribe in the same senatorial, which happens to even be the minority in the minority state, in the minority senatorial. In the senatorial, his tribe is even minority. He's not popular. I'm telling you this. There are more popular candidates like the Abubakar Jinjiri and Bashir Machina. They are more popular candidates than the Senate president. This
So
man does
are
not
you right? So, but are you saying now that the mode of the indirect election that the party and every other party did now during the primary election was what favored Mr. Machina as against if statutory delegates had been brought into the mix? Are you saying that was what had favored Mr. Lawan before now?
What could have favored him?
Yes, yes. Of course, you look at the framework now of the primary election, the delegates that got to vote this time around, this were regular delegates as against the special or statutory delegates. Are you saying that this is what the party should toe moving forward? Of course, we are seeing so many lawmakers, present lawmakers will not be coming back next year. After the election, so to speak, we're going to have a mix of newcomers coming in. Do you think this is helping the system somewhat as against if we had more returning lawmakers to the assembly?
You see, it was the same lawmakers that shot themselves in the foot. They made this law that removed the statutory delegates for election. So it's the same lawmakers that shot themselves in the foot and handed over the party primaries to the sitting governor and leaders in the state. So it is them. And those are the consequences of actions. So I believe them going out in numbers for the first time, it's like it's a consequence to their action. They took that decision and forwarded it to the president, and the president assented to it. So it's their decision to not to use statutory delegates, and even with statutory delegates, even former House members and former senators are also statutory delegates. Do you think they will vote for them because they are imputed? They won't.
It's coming across, that's the Senate President Lawan, it's coming across like a sort of spoiled brat of the APC. At first, he was to be installed as a consensus man, so they was trying to impose him. He failed there, and then he goes to his home state. He wants to impose himself on somebody who was duly elected. And again, is seen not to be a spoiled brat there because he doesn't deserve it. So what is going on? Is this the rest in peace of the career of our dear Senate President Ahmad Lawan?
I think so. I think he's at his end time in the National Assembly. Yes, this pushes he's given and all that is happening around him. I think it's like the end time for him in the National Assembly. But whatever it is, we'll see it play out, because I believe Machina will never allow this to go. And even if he does, there is another person that contested the elections with Machina, who should have been, if not for anything, he should have been the first runner-up.
Mr. Hassan, I wonder what's next for Mr. Machina if he goes to court and he doesn't get the justice and peace as your party have, the motto of your party. If he doesn't get justice at the court and doesn't get peace, justice and equity from your party, which is the motto of your party, what's the next line of action for him?
Are you saying if he doesn't get justice from the court?
Yes.
If he doesn't get justice from the court, then it's over for him. The party has already taken a decision.
Any option of defecting to an opposition party?
Yeah, I don't know him, and I don't know what he's thinking about. But I assure you, if he leaves the APC and he's very popular, if he leaves the APC, he will win the election against Alwan. In fact, it is because Yobe is a one-party state. If the PDP were very strong in that state, Lawan couldn't have been Senate President.
All right, Mr. Alwan Hassan, we say a big thank you to you for speaking with us on TVC Breakfast. Many thanks indeed.